Welcome to Art Toronto TV. My name is Mia Nielsen. I am the director of Art Toronto, and I'm thrilled today to start a new series, one that I hope inspires a lot of conversations about where we see the art world going in these uncertain times. And would like to take an opportunity to introduce my first guest, Gaëtane Verna.
Hi, Mia. Yeah, hi, Internet. I'm Gaëtane Verna. I'm the director of the power plant, and I'm very pleased to welcome you, in my temporary offices here on Palmerston Square in Toronto.
Indeed, we are all working from home right now, and these are unprecedented times, and I think we're all so used to dealing with managing a lot of really bad news that I want to take this time of disruption to open up a conversation about the future of the art world here in Canada and abroad, and figure out ways that we can inspire each other to develop new systems that and a brave new world. So, Gaëtane, without further ado, I would like to ask you, what is the art world you would like to create?
Well, it's interesting, that question, because I think the way I've been working at the power plant for, let's say, the last 8 years and throughout my career is very much the art world that I love, which means that is one that is connected to the local, the regional, the national, and the global, right? So that's very much the type of conversations that I'm always interested in engaging with. And I think that, and because our institution is not a large institution, so it's nimble. We can react quickly. We can make decisions that are that can shift quite rapidly. And then there's conditions in the way the institution functions as a free exhibition, a free institution, right? So in terms of removing financial barriers to bring people into the organization, you see the effect of this pandemic has a more harsh impact on larger institutions who need ticketed events in order to function. And so for me, I mean, this question of access and this question of having diverse programs, this question of being a space where you tackle, art is the center of what we do, but that in the choice of the artist, we're always thinking of social political questions that are underlying and weaved into the work of the artist, and to be a platform that explore these questions so that when the visitor comes to the gallery, engages with the work of the artist, that we have these audiences that are constantly thinking. And when they leave the gallery, some of the thoughts of the artist, they take them with them, and hopefully this will have an impact on their own personal lives as citizens, as humans, and that hopefully through the stories and the work of the artist, that they take something home. And it's not, of course, contemplation is important because we're looking at visual art, but I think also that people find that the gallery becomes a meeting place where they can form ideas, and they can exchange in terms of concept, in terms of questions, that in a very polarized, media, that you can create the space where you can have these exchanges and slow down the pace of things to really delve into questions, and that whatever the subject matter that the artist is talking about, if I can give you an example, if an artist is talking about, I don't know, the question of Africa and Eritrea and Italy, right? That for many of us might not be, many might not know where Eritrea is, all of the, but if we can learn through the work of the artist and that it explains to us some of the challenges that we see in terms of refugee questions in Eastern Africa towards Europe, then I feel that this is the art world I want to be part of. I want an art world that, of course, presents beautiful works, but I think beauty as well as depth of thought, of emotion, of interaction, and that we don't base everything on the numbers. You know, not everything needs to be a blockbuster to be successful.
Right, right. That's awesome. And beauty is an interesting entry point, isn't it? Because I feel like, beauty can disarm a viewer, and it can create an entry point with audiences to delve into different concepts, ideas. And I'm curious um, if there are like upcoming shows that are going to kind of maybe change direction a little bit because of this moment, and when we do bring people back together.
Oh, you mean in terms of our let's say, like we choose the same artist, but the direction of what's in
Of
the space
work.
of works. Well, I mean, there's very practical things such as, for winter 2021, we
Mhm.
had scheduled four different artists, two of which in because we commission new works by artists. So
Mhm.
two of these artists needed to travel to the Arctic region in order to engage with the space, the geography, and populations, communities. And they were supposed to travel either in May or in September. So of course, this is no longer possible. So we've
Mhm.
had to push these exhibition to fall 21,
Okay.
which in a sense is a good thing also, in a sense, because it will give the artist more time to really establish those human relations that are
Mhm.
embedded into their practice,
Mhm.
you know? And so that means that we have to quickly come up with, one or two other projects. So the first thing we did in one case is we offered more space to one of the artists with whom we were already scheduled to work. And this artist chose to present a new series of silk screens that are inspired by poetry and a feminist poet. So I'm really happy about, giving more opportunity to one artist to show more bodies of work so that we're not piecemealing it as much. And
Mhm.
I think I'm, I think sometimes I think I'm always thinking of pushing and pushing and
Mhm.
eager to push, not just to push, but because I feel there's so many great artists and I want to give more opportunities to artists to show their works, right? But
Mhm.
I'm also realizing that from the situation that we're living in and the effect on budgets, and it had a tremendous effect on so many people's lives. I
Mhm.
feel lucky that I run an organization that can keep our permanent staff paid and working, and
Mhm.
so I don't take this lightly, and I feel that it's given me even more energy and more yearning to do our work better and to be more impactful in the communities with whom we work. But I think at the same time, we also need to think of, how do we do less but better? Kind of, instead of having four artists, then do two artists, give them more room, deal
Mhm.
deal you delve deeper into the practice, you extend the show, you kind of stretch it. But at the end, sir, the stretching, this idea of stretching time and space is really in order to create more opportunity for more people to come in contact with the work, instead of just thinking, okay, we'll have four artists, we'll do this, But so to me, that will be one of the changes. Will definitely be this, let's do maybe a little less,
Mm-hmm.
better.
Right. Right. Um, you've mentioned, this like push and pull of time. The creating a like opening time in the gallery space to kind of combat the quickness of our online lives and our and social media, and and giving this time to artists to like allow them to go deeper. I'm curious if you see an opportunity in this time of
Mhm.
isolation where we can marry those ideas. So for instance, like, is there a way that we can create or that we can open time for ourselves to connect with culture at home?
Mhm. I mean, I think that there's the one thing that I love about the art world is that we are always ready to go. It's like there's a pandemic, everybody's working
Uh,
from home, and then the sheer magnitude of content that people have delved into immediately. It's not like people sat for a month and went, what are we thinking? People automatically looked at archive, put things on the web, created these platforms. At the power plant, one of my colleagues at Contemporary Calgary, Ryan Dorothy, phones me. He's like, "Oh, I have this idea. What about if we created this network of different Canadian institutions, and we're all creating programs for on the web, and how about if we all came together?" I Mia, I couldn't even believe it. Within 10 days, 10 days, there's a website, there's a name, it's called Filtrip Dart ART, and it's like 19 to 25 Canadian institution. Once a week, one institution puts whichever program that they were already thinking of for, let's say the VAG or let's say Contemporary Calgary, but then we put it on this platform and everybody shares it with their different constituency. So it's unbelievable, it and I don't want to complain, but I feel that now we're like being inundated
mm,
in a different way
mhm,
from every art fair, every private gallery. Everyone wants to share content with everyone,
mhm.
but it's the type of attention that you need to be viewing something remotely compared to your physical reaction of being within a space
Right.
in reaction to the work.
Mhm.
It's the two are completely different, and I think that because we're all at home, then we're doing more interaction through the web.
Yeah.
Then there's more content on the web, which was already a lot of content, right? And then when we need a break, it's either you walk but with distance, either you read or you start binge watching like all these amazing TV shows. So you're constantly on.
Yeah.
So I think it's really it is really healthy for people to kind of, and that's where I think like reading a physical book
Mhm.
becomes that space that is very different, and that could or reading poetry, that brings you back to a physical state that is more conducive to the types of experiences we had in an art gallery, because we're not looking at a screen, you're looking at a physical object. So I think it's we are sharing a lot of information, and but I think it will be interesting to revisit these works with our physical the normal, right? Hopefully this is not our new normal, but within the type of interaction that one usually sees in artwork, through an exhibition, through the trajectory that you take from leaving your house to getting to a museum entering the space, engaging with people, then being in front of an artwork, and also having other people in that space looking at that artwork. It's all of that that's missing also, you know? And to me, that's what I miss the most.
Okay. If there is one or maybe two things that you would like to see come out of this time, what would they be?
I would say less of a rat race, to be like kind of saying, "Oh, we need to be the best. We need to do to have the biggest exhibition, or we need to," I would say that um, how can I say, being mindful of what we like, having more time to think of what we present, why we present it, how we present it, which are all things that I must say at the Paraplan we're constantly doing, right? So, but forcing ourselves um, to create more opportunities for the public to engage with the work and the voices of artists, and then also inviting us to figure out um, different touch points with the audience in order to bring them back in front of the work of art. So to me, through this period, and when I talk about the platform fieldtrip.art, this is a great way to, there might be tons of mothers and fathers or individuals sitting at home who will discover us through this, you know, within this situation.
Mm-hmm.
It is our responsibility that all this engagement that we're putting together is not a one horse pony ride, right? That
Right.
we continue on that trajectory. Because one thing that I've realized is that though at the Paraplan we always talk about wanting to remove any barrier to access to an exhibition, there is always a barrier of distance, right? Some people live too far away. Some people have physical disabilities. Some people have, there's many reasons why some people cannot come to the Paraplan. I think this, what we're living through now, will give us, and we had already started thinking of those tools, this will be the opportunity for us to rethink uh, like everything we've been doing, like Zooming this way. You and I would never have been
No.
Zooming. We would be calling each other, meeting up, right?
Yeah,
So
totally. Having coffee.
having
Yeah.
coffee. So what we've learned from this situation, there's elements that we definitely should be using in order to reach out to communities, to possible audiences that live too far away to come to the power plant, but that should still be engaged with. So we should keep that, expand on that, but then the ones who will have just learned about us or engage with us because of this specific condition, we should figure out how to grow these connections and have them come to the gallery also. So
Yeah.
there's
It's
always,
a marriage.
yes, I think I try to have a sunny disposition in life and you're like, okay, what are we learning from this
Yes.
situation? What
Yeah.
do we keep from it?
Yeah.
And what are the other things that we will readjust? um, and I think that's what I want to bring back home when we enter the space of the gallery again, and to say, maybe we have new people who have started following us through Instagram, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Through
Mm-hmm.
your this exchange that we're having in
Mm-hmm.
terms of your constituency, there's people that maybe have gone, go to Art Toronto, follow different galleries, and
Mm-hmm.
come and listen to talks, the power talks that we would have at Art Toronto, but I've never gone to the power plant, you know, and
Yeah.
so maybe through this conversation they'll go, oh, all right, let me follow what they're doing on Instagram, on Facebook, on their website, but
Yeah.
then, oh, next time I'm on the waterfront, let me stop into this gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that nothing is lost. We should see all of these as really great opportunities to engage, but it is our individual responsibilities, like in terms of institution, to evaluate what do we keep of this. And I'll give you a great example. We were supposed to have a symposium in around March 21st. And we're thinking, oh, okay, well, we don't want to do it through Skype or through anything like this. We really want the physical reaction. And now we're all like, hey, next time that somebody says, I can't travel, we put them on Zoom or on Skype,
no
on
problem.
Teams. Now everybody will be much more comfortable with these types of interaction. Whereas, a month ago, I would have gone, oh no, it's not the same thing. It will never be the same thing. But it's very interesting. And that's the beauty of humans. We adapt
Totally.
to the context. Like friend of mine told me their 90-year-old parents were Zooming for their birthday because, nobody could be together. And she's like, I can't believe my parents, we taught them, they figured it out, and they're using Zoom. And interestingly enough, I sit on a board, and one of the chair of the board, she would always send, for meetings, Zoom. And I was like, oh, I don't understand this. This is too complicated. And I'm like, look at us, like just going on. So this is what I love about humans. We adapt to our context, right? And so I think that we need to take the good out of what we've learned from this context, but not throw everything out. Like, I still feel very strongly that the experience of seeing an artwork in the space of a gallery trumps a lot of things, a lot of other interaction. And so I don't think it needs to be an either or, it needs to be both. But we also need to understand how we present a work in that context, how we create that context, and then what is our how do we bring people within the space of the gallery. Because for years, since 2016, the power plant always did virtual tours. We always did that. And so it was because I know that many people follow what we do, but from abroad, right? So they'll say, oh, we follow the program at the power plant, but if they live in China or if they live in Dubai, before they come to visit the power plant, they still have a good knowledge of what we do. So I think this is those are the learnings that I take out of this. And even with the platform that we've developed with our colleagues, then this platform should live on. We shouldn't stop it when we go back. We shouldn't go back in our silos. We should be working more across the board, because I believe that, and the way the government has been, finding ways to support the Canadian society at every level, from businesses to non-for-profit to now students, then we owe it to ourselves as citizens and as leaders of institutions to figure out how should the impact of the program of the power plant resonate with somebody in the Yukon. They're as important as an audience for the power plant as a national institution, as an institution that's funded through the Canada Council, Ontario, and Toronto Arts Council, and a plethora of, like, a group of donors, members, like everyone in that community that supports the power plant. That community can also be people that are in the Yukon. So why not try to figure out ways to keep connecting with those newfound, family members?
Yeah, that's awesome. So continue the collaboration, the transparency between organizations, and keep connecting with these remote communities to enhance that in-person experience of the museum. That's amazing.
And
Thank you so much,
one thing
Gaëtane.
I'd like to say is just, I really think we need to rethink. There's a whole segment of the population, people who live with disabilities, that haven't been thinking of deeply enough, and how to adjust our programming and our offering to also include them in in the art conversation, because and that could be people that are also elderly, that have mobility issues. So all of these things, I'm finding that it's going to be very nurturing for our, all of our teams to be thinking of those things as we, hopefully, not hopefully, we will go back to our new normal.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been so inspiring. Thank you, Gaëtane Verna from the Power Plant. And I look forward to next time.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.